John F. Kennedy said, change is the law, and those that only look to the past and present are certain to miss the future. Change is the only constant in our vast universe, and here to talk about change, working on his visionary communicator's pathway, please welcome Toastmaster Sean Esler.
See, in this is how I started junior high. On the ground, surrounded by strangers, in a new city, in a new school, in a new system entirely. Change is hard, and so is the ground. It was not fun. I'm being walked over by all these other teenagers laughing and staring and mocking me. And I laid there hurt, humiliated, embarrassed. It was the worst day of my life so far. It would get worse later on. Eventually, some of those people would become friends, and I'd make some good relationships. One of them in particular, Becky. She was my high school crush. So we graduated and left high school and parted ways. And she did what she did all the time with me. She completely ignored me. It's great. Change is hard. My parents ripped me out of this comfortable environment I was in the city, a system that I'd gotten used to and was comfortable in, and put me out into something completely new with different societal norms. And I hated them for it. Change is hard for all of us, and we all go through these. Now, whether that's a school, family, maybe a change in your job, maybe it's just the change of adulthood, which some of us in here are still working on. Change is hard, but it's not without confrontation either. You see, when I got home, well, what did I do? Oh, I yelled at my parents and cursed them out under my breath. We created a confrontation because I was not ready for that kind of change. But that's our history. In everything we do, there's a confrontation whenever there's a change. Look at our history as a nation. Go back to 1775, Lexington and Concord. We created a confrontation to effect a massive change. We started a war with the greatest empire of the time to change how we were ruled. And what happened in this confrontation? 25,000-ish men and women lost their lives over the next couple of years, fighting for something different. Fast forward only a few decades, around the 1840s, the women's suffrage movement. They wanted change. Women stood up, spoke their mind, and wanted to be recognized as equals. And how did we respond? We imprisoned them. We abused them. We tortured, chemically subdued some. We weren't ready for change. Go forward only a few decades later, the greatest confrontation our nation faced, the Civil War. We wanted to abolish slavery. And at that point, over 600,000 men and women lost their lives confronting this change. Jump ahead 100 years. The 1960s, the beginning of the Civil Rights Movement. Now we've abolished slavery, but now people of color are trying to find equality with everyone else. They were tired of being hunted, abused, lynched, tortured, treated as second-class citizens. Around that same time, the LGBT community started their rights movement. And still fighting today. Still being treated as second-class citizens. Still laws and rules and regulations and things out there that keep them separated. That take away their safe places. And what's the result of that? Right now, it's estimated 1 million youth in the LGBT community seriously consider suicide each year change is hard for us to accept. Because change is hard. Change is hard, period. And it creates confrontation within us. We're used to our own norms. We're used to what we're comfortable with. But when it's faced with us, we fight against it sometimes. But change is powerful. Go back. We created an entire nation, not just a nation whose constitution was designed for change. It's built into what we have. We can affect change in our own system of government. That's how it's designed. Yes, we abolished slavery. Yes, legally, everybody is on equal ground now. Look at our young employees coming up into the workforce right now. And all the changes just in the past few years on how people approach work. It's completely changing the workforce and the employer. And as an employer, we resist these things. It's not within our norms. But right now, more young people are starting new businesses than ever before. Change is powerful. Take our own Toastmaster, Jessica Dawson. On the verge of a multi-million-dollar business right now. Do you think that she'd be in this position if not for her freedom and ability to change? Change is powerful. I hear that word woke thrown around all the time. And it fights against what we consider normal. But maybe what it is really awoken. Change is hard. Change is confrontational. But Toastmasters, change is powerful. Thank you very much.